first, let's talk about the court ruling itself. There's one line in Judge McIntyre's ruling that is, frankly, it's insane. It is insane. It's crazy. I can't believe that it's in it, but here we go. I'm going to read it to you right now. Here's quoting from the ruling against Occupy Boston. Judge McIntyre wrote, "Little in the way of expression is outlawed under the United States Constitution." All right, that starts out good, right? You know, you don't want things outlawed. You don't want speech outlawed, right? That starts out good, but it gets bad. So, little in the way of expression is outlawed under the United States Constitution. But, here's where it gets bad, but an act which incites a lawful, forceful response is unlikely to pass as expressive speech. You heard me right. Did you hear it? I'll read it again in case you missed it. An act which incites a lawful, forceful response is unlikely to pass as expressive speech. Are you friggin' kidding me? Are you seriously, Judge? Seriously? Do you all understand what she just said? Do you understand what this judge just said? This judge apparently is happy to leave the right of free speech and assembly up to individual police discretion. That is what she's essentially saying here. That is what she's saying. According to this judge, if the police forcefully respond to your speech, it is not protected by the First Amendment. It is up to police discretion. That is what she's saying. That is what this judge is saying. The judge says the judge is saying that the police can decide what and when and if you're allowed to speak at all, essentially. So if the police pepper spray you, if the police beat you with batons, if they do that, clearly, that speech you were trying to do, that's not protected. If they pepper spray you, if they arrest you, if they beat you with batons, that speech is not protected because the police stopped you from doing it. Because if it was protected speech, well then, the police wouldn't be beating you. The police wouldn't be arresting you if your speech were protected. It's up to the police to decide what and when you can speak. You know, a writer for the Boston Phoenix, in response to that exact thing, actually posted a picture of a statue that I've actually never seen in Birmingham, Alabama. It's a statue commemorating a famous civil rights moment and photo. I've seen the photo before. The statue is actually inspired by the famous photo. I'm sure you've probably seen it. It's iconic, where this white police officer is literally sicking a dog on a black protester in the 60s. It's an amazing statue and an amazing iconic photo. So I guess Judge McIntyre, what you're saying is that white police officer who he's sicking a dog on him. So that white police officer who forcibly responded to that civil rights protester by sicking a dog on him, by having a dog attack him, technically, that civil rights protester didn't have the First Amendment right to march, didn't have the First Amendment right to protest, because if he did have that right, then that police officer wouldn't have sicked the dog on him. What crazy authoritarian mindset does this judge have? It is sickening and frankly shocking that this person is on a friggin' bench. She concluded in the ruling that, quote, the act of occupation this court has determined as a matter of law is not speech. That's what she concluded. Occupations are not speech. It's like Bill Hicks said. You have the freedom to do what we tell you. That's what we have the freedom to do, people. Look, there is no way that you can look at the Occupy movement and say that it is not political speech. I guess you can. This crazy-ass judge did it. She just did it. She just did it. She just said it's not speech. She just said occupations aren't speech. But if you do, you are friggin' kidding yourself. You are friggin' kidding yourself. Occupations aren't political speech. They're not political speech. Are you kidding me? I don't know if you saw this, Justice McIntyre. I don't know if you actually saw this, but President Barack Obama just gave an economic speech that, frankly, was full of the rhetoric of Occupy Wall Street. It was full of the rhetoric of the 99%. It was a fiery, economic, populist speech. All right, I'm going to tell you. Calm down, everybody. I didn't really buy the speech. I'm going to be frank with you. I didn't buy Obama's speech. I really didn't believe the speech. I'm just going to be honest with you. But the fact that Obama actually gave that speech, the fact that Obama was forced to give that speech, is a victory for the political movement that is Occupy Wall Street. The political movement that is the Occupy movement. The fact is, because of Occupy, the president now has to about economic inequality. The fact that he's not still pitching to cut more programs. The fact that he's not talking about austerity, which he was doing, a friggin' month ago. That is a victory for the Occupy movement. But are you seriously telling me that that's not political speech? We influence the friggin' president of the United States of America, and this isn't political speech? Are you out of your friggin' mind? And look, the Obama speech, it was a good speech. But, I've never been one to say, God, Obama, the problem with Obama, he just doesn't know how to give a good speech. That's not Obama's problem. The problem is, I just don't believe President Obama anymore. For right now, what it is, it's a shift in rhetoric. And at the moment, there is no shift in policy. He hasn't outlined or proposed any new policies or any real shift in policies or legislation that would actually benefit the 99%. That's a simple truth. If the president really wanted to get people back on his side and really, wanted to say that he's serious of working for the 99%, I guess he would have ended the speech by, for me, he could have ended the speech by saying, "My fellow Americans, I'm ending the speech today by publicly firing Tim Geithner and Bill Daley. And the prosecutions of Wall Street criminals begins now. Thank you, good night." That would be change that I could believe in, frankly, personally. But look, it was a good speech. It was perfectly good, fiery, populist speech. But again, I don't buy it. But look, I will say this though: is it a good thing that the president is talking about economic inequality instead of talking about austerity? Is that a good thing? You are goddamn right it's a good thing. You are goddamn right. That's not a good thing. That is a great thing. The Occupy movement has shifted the political talk that's going on in D.C. right now. And even if it's just talk, the fact that the talk has been shifted is an insane victory for the Occupy movement. The fact that the president had to give that speech, and that's what the president's going to have to campaign on, even if, most likely he doesn't actually live up to the speech, the fact that the speech is being made is actually a really good thing and is a major victory. He's only talking about it because Occupy made him talk about it. But according to the judge, Judge McIntyre, occupations aren't protected speech. This thing that these protesters just did that made the president give that speech, that's not protected speech. Again, according to the courts, money is speech. Money is speech. Corporations can spend unlimited amounts of money buying and corrupting our political system, but you little person down there, you can't put a tent in a park to protest that corruption, to protest that buying of our system. You can't do that, but they can. Because occupations aren't speech.